Hello, Ben. I've just made you the host.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I assume we're waiting for a few more people, Andy. Or
Yes, let's see how many we've got. We've got 46. I think there's like 52 people said yes. So I think probably you might as well go for it. And then if people join a few minutes, no problem.
Amazing.
So,
Great.
yeah, thanks to Ben for hosting this session. The way this came about was, so I organised Digital Candle, which connects charities with volunteer experts. And I had an absolute glut of people wanting to know about Google AdWords and ad grants. And so Sonia had the bright idea of trying to group it all together into one big session. And then what I initially thought was going to be about 4 or 5 people has turned into 50 people. So it's great to know it's a popular topic. Thanks for coming along, and I'll hand over to Ben, who's the person who actually knows about AdWords, unlike myself.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Thanks for signing up. And yes, I've done one of these sessions before for Digital Candle, and I presented to about 15 organizations. They found it useful. Presenting to 46 is slightly different, but hopefully there'll be something for everyone here.
Feel free to ask your questions, by the way, in the chat, and then Ben can.
Andy, you're gonna be the facilitator of questions, aren't you?
I'll be looking at questions. Yeah. So either like if they seem relevant at the time, I might interrupt you, but otherwise we'll group them up for the end.
Yeah. Cool. What I'm also hoping is most people have the Google grants for their organization, so they're already running ads. And I know, okay, shaking her head, no. Okay, so I'll spend a little bit of time about how you actually apply for it as well, and there are links in there. And for those who do have it, it's a lot more about how to improve your use of it and how you can actually make the most of it, and then also how you can free yourself up from worrying about it or spending so much time managing it. A lot of the charities we work with don't have time to do it. It's a small part of their job and they just want it to run, but they want to make sure they're doing it well and not lose it. So there's always that worry. So we've got a few common things to work from here. So I will share my screen, and you're recording, Andy, aren't you, as well?
I am recording, and I'll share the link afterwards.
Great. What I like to do is hide everything, so it's just me and the slides. Here we go. One other thing I should say is I've got a test ads account where we can actually look at what's happening in some of the things that we're running, and so we can actually go through and show how we would set things up, for example. So we can do that as we go. So here's a little bit about me. What I will do is send these slides afterwards, so I'm not actually going to spend too much time on me. Basically, I do this for a living. Charities pay us to do this, and I'm certified by Google, which means that we're a Google partner. And yeah, we know what we're talking about, so that's fine. Our training approach is that we really like practical examples. We don't like to bore you with slides, or not too many slides, and theory. We want you to actually understand how to do this yourself and do it in your jobs or your voluntary organizations, and just make sure that you actually take in what we're saying, and then, because we're recording this, you can go back to your day job and look up what you need to do if you can't remember what we discussed as part of this call. There are lots of there's lots of jargon involved in this kind of thing as well. We try and make everything in plain English as much as possible. We really want you to be able to just understand everything. We don't want jargon. If we are using jargon, we'll try and explain it so it's nice and plain English. There are lots of tools available as well. So if you're looking for ideas to help make your jobs easier, or help to make this, just people do tools do the work for you, then we've got some ideas for that. I am building in some time for Q&As. We've got till 2 o'clock today. Andy's facilitating the chat. Please leave any questions there. We'll have some time at the end to answer any other questions. Andy has also permission to interrupt me at any time if there's a relevant question. That means we can stop. We also want to make this understandable when reviewing later. There's nothing worse than going to a session like this and forgetting everything when you actually come to do it in your actual day-to-day job. So I want to make sure that if you watch this recording again, or you look at the slides, it is understandable. I've also got lots of links to guides in here. So as we cover each point, there's normally a link to a guide where you can remind yourself how to do something. And then I'm going to caveat this, but there will be an opportunity to follow up the training session afterwards. I don't like just delivering a session and then disappearing. So if you do have a follow-up question or something that didn't make sense, or you can't remember something, I don't want to just disappear. I want to make sure you have the opportunity to ask questions. So I'll work out with Andy how best we do that, but it might be any questions afterwards, we kind of batch them or collate them through Andy's inbox if he's happy with that, and I can answer them as best I can.
You're happy to do that?
Thank you, Andy, for opening up your inbox. Excellent, cool. So one quick check, Andy, can everyone see the slides? Because I'm aware that this might be a bit small. I'm going to try and make it a bit bigger, maybe. Anyway, yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. So some people did say they don't have the grant, and this gives me an opportunity to introduce it. It's a free grants program from Google. So Google, if you're successful, will give you $10,000, which is about £8,000 to £9,000 in monthly Google ad spend. So that works out at something like an extra 15,000 visitors per month to your organization's website if you have the Google ad grant. So it's about $329 per day. In order to qualify it in the UK, you do need a charity number. You do need to be registered with the Charity Commission. Unfortunately, voluntary organizations, social enterprises, KICs, those kind of things won't be able to qualify. And I think the reason that is because Google doesn't want to be the facilitator or the arbitrator of who gets it or not. They want the Charity Commission. They want to know you're a legit charity. That's the only way you can get it. Hopefully you'll learn something from this if you're not a registered charity, but that's just one of the key things. Other things that they will ask for as part of sign up is your headcount, so how many people are part of your organization, your annual budget, so how much you're basically spending in a year across the whole organization. And I think that's not just so they can test you, it's much more about their internal reporting practices. They want to know how many organizations they've helped, how big those organizations are, and what the kind of income of those charities are, so they can show how much impact they've had as a result. It's fairly straightforward to apply. The only complicating factor is there is a partner in the UK that facilitates this called Tech Donation. And basically you apply to Tech Donation approve you, and then you get the Google grant through Google. I have a step-by-step guide I will circulate as part of this to make it easier, but highly recommend you look into this because this is a free grant. Once you get it, $10,000 in monthly ad spend. It's really worth getting, and lots of people are using it already. Of the charities that do have Google Ads, 84% would recommend it to other charities. Only 56% have a strategy in place though. So what we generally find is lots of people apply for the grant, they get it, but then they don't know how best to use it, or they forget about it, or they don't have time. So that's something we'll try and combat here. Some people, again, I guess this is quite correlating. Some people didn't find it an important part of the charity's digital marketing efforts, but that's probably because they don't have a strategy in place, so they're not using it well. 46% said their Google Ad grant was one of their top 3 sources for website traffic. So it's a great way to get people into your project. And then 62% get more traffic from their ad grant than from their email programs. So if you're getting lots of traffic that way already, this is another way to supplement that traffic as well. How they're using it. So most charities use it for awareness, literally showing ads to people who are interested in topics to do with what your charity does. So that's the main way, and honestly is the best way to use it as well. You can then look at more advanced ways of using it, things like subscriptions for sales for your products or services, donations is there, downloads of content. So there you can think of some of the other ways that charities are using Google Ads, and you might get some inspiration there. But mainly people are using it for awareness. In case you didn't know, this is where your ads appear. So when someone searches for a charity, so here I'm using Charity Commons as an example, your ad will appear if Google matches the search term that you're using there with the search terms that you're targeting in Google Ads. So it's a match together. Now, I'm going to explain that in more detail in a moment and show you ways that you can quickly create ads that appear like this when relevant terms come up. But in case you didn't know, that's what an ad looks like. Just to show you some more examples, here's one for wildlife charity. You can see up the top there, the RSPB comes up, and actually they've got a lot of detail around this ad. So it's not just text, it's not just trying to sell you something. They've got lots of information around their location, their phone number, their opening times, and these are called site links, which are deeper links into different parts of the website. I really love this WWF one as well, which is about adopting an animal. And you can see that they have these different links at the bottom here where you can actually adopt different animals, which is a really clever way of using Google Ads. So you can see the kind of things that people are using it for, the kind of extras you can add to your ads that augment it. And I've actually just pulled out here a bit of an example about what each section does. And in Google Ads, you're actually able to control what each of these things says. So everything from the headline here in red, which actually is kind of your mail sales pitch. You've got things like the locations, if you're operating a charity shop, or if you have a venue or an events venue that people can come and visit, that's a great way to have it as well. These site links are the links into deeper parts of the website, so you can actually direct people into specific parts, and we'll have a look again at this in more detail later. There's a phone number option here. So if you have a helpline, for example, this is a great way to get more people to call you. On a mobile, it works particularly well because instead of the phone number here, a button appears where it says click to call, and people can call you directly from the ad as well. So that's a really neat trick as well, which we'll have a look at. Opening hours goes with location, and call outs are kind of extra features or extra benefits of your organization. You can even control what this URL looks like here, which is called the path. So they've gone for join here because this is obviously a membership ad. So all of this you can control. We'll look at all of this, and you can see that you can communicate a lot of information to people searching for relevant information or relevant services like yours. So it's lots to do here, and it's really exciting how much you can do. One thing I wanted to do, and a lot of people have questions about this, and I think, Andy, this is some of the common questions that you were getting as part of the Google Ads, was around compliance. So you do get the $10,000 in free monthly ad spend, but there are a few rules and restrictions to make sure that you're using it in the right way. Now, Google has introduced these policies in order to ensure that the quality of the ads being shown is high. I think what was happening is that a lot of charities had the Google Ad grant, but were slightly abusing it, partly on purpose, some of them accidentally. And I think basically Google weren't happy with what the ads were being shown. They now make you basically ensure that you meet these minimum quality requirements to make sure that the ads being shown are good. And so, for example, you can actually only link your ad to one website domain. Some charities were linking to multiple domains. Maybe they had sister services or microsites. Google doesn't want to see that. They just want to make sure that you're legitimate and they're checking your website. Your ads and keywords should match your organization's programs and services. That sounds obvious, but again, some charities were showing ads that didn't necessarily reflect what the user would expect at the end. So that's a no-no. Some charities have revenue generating schemes through partnerships. For example, they might be offering a credit card or a mortgage offer to their users in return for a referral fee, an affiliate fee. You can't use your Google Ads to do that, basically. So you can't use it for revenue generation like that. They're also asking charities to log in once a month and make one change at least every 90 days. So this is to ensure that people aren't just setting and forgetting. And then that's, again, when things get outdated, the ad quality goes down. Basically, they want you to log in at least once a month and make a small change just to show you're still actively using the account. So hopefully that's okay as well. Your ad must not link to pages that are primarily composed of other links to other websites. So again, I think that's trying to combat where you might have one domain, but that domain is just pointing to other things like mortgage offers, cars, credit card stuff. So basically anything that you shouldn't be using it for. And also commercial advertising. If you have a revenue generating side to your organization, which is purely commercial, and where the proceeds do not go to your charitable arm, then you won't be able to advertise that. You can advertise things that people buy. So you can, for example, sell training through it, but the proceeds must go back to your charity. They can't be used for for-profit arm. So that's about staying compliant. Sounds scary. It's not actually that scary. as long as you're just showing ads for what they're meant to, you're just sending your traffic to one website, you're logging in once a month and making a small change. It's quite easy to stay compliant. There are some other elements that they want to make sure are happening. Accepting the terms and conditions that you have when you first join, that's easy to do. Make sure you have 2 active ads and 2 active ad groups and 2 active ads in each ad group. We're going to look on the next slide at how that works and just make sure you meet that. Lots of organizations are worried about the click-through rate. Oh, that's jargon. Naughty Ben, that's a slap on the wrist. Click-through rate, which is a CTR. Basically, they need to make sure.
Can you hear Rhea screaming and having a meltdown?
No.
And that's how I me when I scratch when I started the
Shh. Oh, shh. Just check I'm not on sound here.
Excellent. We couldn't hear the screaming, but we could hear him. Did you hear the screaming? Saying, did you hear the screaming? So the click-through rate is basically the number of times people have shown the ads, how many people click through. So if 100 people have shown the ad and 5 people click through, you have a click-through rate of 5%. Google needs to make sure that you are above 5%. And again, that's a quality control measure. If you're showing ads that aren't getting the 5% click-through rate, that's an indication to them that what the user is searching for is not being met by the ads that you're showing. We'll have a look at quite a few ways in order to get that well above 5%. And I think most of the organizations we work with are up to something like 15 to 16%. So there are lots of ways to do that.
Can I ask a couple of questions, Ben?
Go ahead.
Just from the group. Can the grant be used for display network ads too? That's from Stacey.
No, it's just search, I'm afraid. So display network is where ads appear on other websites. So it might be like on The Guardian, for example, you see those kind of banner ads, which are images. Can't be used on the display network. It's just for search. So just for when someone uses Google search and makes a search inquiry.
Next question. Rachel's asking, could you just talk a bit more about that application process? What is the TechSoup validation token? The link seems to go to Charity Digital.
Maybe it's changed then. So Google nonprofits, Charity Digital, just show it. So basically, yes, that's right. So in each country that Google is running this in, they have a partner in the ground that is managing it. So here, I thought it was Tech Donation in the UK. Maybe it's changed. Yeah, it's changed. It is Charity Digital, so now they're now handling it. Is that correct? I'm going to query that. I'm not sure about this. I think
Helen's
they're
saying it is
advertising.
Charity Digital. She did it last weekend.
I see. Okay, so it's changed provider. Yeah, the one I was referring to was as Tech Donation, and they've been working with quite a few different countries. So it looks like different organizations have different partners on the ground. And so this is what I thought it was. So it's changed to Charity Digital. Thank you for flagging that. I will update my slides and make sure it's the correct one. So that's fine.
And then what happens if you miss the once a month compliance guideline? Do you automatically get kicked out of the scheme?
No, they will send you an email. They'll send you a warning and say you haven't done this. What might happen is your ads will be paused until you sort it out. So you won't be kicked out of the scheme. Your ads will just automatically be paused until you rectify the things that are incorrect. It's you will get an email, you will get a reason why it's happened, and as long as you just do it in a week or so, your ads will get going. I haven't seen anyone get kicked out of the scheme. It's much more about their ads being paused.
And another question from Oliver is trying to set up paid display ads on an account that has a grant, even if you're willing to pay for it yourself.
In that case, you have to set up a separate account. So the Google Grants account cannot physically be billed. So Google takes away the ability for that account to be charged, which means that you have, and many bigger charities do this, they have a Google Grant account, which they use to run free ads. And if they have commercial services they're selling or they want to pay to show on the display network, like you're saying, they will have a paid for account, which is separate.
Nabil is asking, Nabila, feel free to clarify if I'm not quite asking the question right, but how do you know if you qualify for a grant? That's just, it's as simple as just being a charity, is it?
Yeah, you literally have to have a registered charity number from the Charity Commission in the UK. And each country that Google is running this in has their own kind of version of that.
Is that helping, Nabila, or were you also looking for some clarity about the Charity Digital Tech Soup?
Yeah, thanks. That did answer it for me. Thanks, because I've had some support through Digital Candle to get an account set up. A Google Ad Expert did help me set the account up, and we've done that. So I'm just trying to clarify how we would use it as a charity moving forward and stuff. So really useful to know. Thank you.
Great. Okay.
All okay?
Yeah. Do you want to get back to the main event?
No, I love this interruptions as well, because it means we're actually answering the questions you have rather than just rattling on through some slides. So in terms of structuring your account, what I wanted to touch on here was this rule around 2 active ad groups and 2 active ads in each ad group. So what this looks like here, this little diagram, I think will help you understand what's happening at each level. So the ad account is basically your organizational account. So everything in your Google Ads account. You set up different ad campaigns, normally for different kind of products or services. And that's your kind of top level campaign. Underneath that, you might have different ad groups, and you might have them targeting different people, for example. So if you were selling training, you might have one ad group for Google Ads training. You might have a second ad group for Facebook training. And so you can see why it would be under one ad campaign training. One ad group would be Facebook, one ad group would be Google. So think about your own products and services and how you can group them in this structure. And that's how you're best able to meet that 2 ad groups, 2 ad campaigns running with 2 ad groups. Within each ad group, you'd have the actual ads themselves, so the text that you're showing, the keywords that you're targeting, so what triggers the ad to show, and the landing page. When people click on an ad, where do they go through to next? The best way to do this is to kind of mirror your website. So I'm actually going to bring up the Catalyst website. And what we find is that many people, when they set up their website, they kind of use it to reflect their organization and the things they offer. So Catalyst here in their navigation, they've got COVID funding, services, resources, research, and the blog, for example. We might have a campaign for each one of these. So when we have this level, we're going to have an ad campaign for services. We click into services to have a look. We can see they have these different services: Design Hops, Digital Candle, which I heard is amazing, Beyond, Coffee Connections, Service Recipes. There's quite a few here. What I would do is have an ad group for each of these services. So we have one ad group for Design Hops, one for Digital Candle, one for Beyond. And then within that, we have different ads targeting, encouraging people to click through. Sorry, one slide. And so quite quickly, you can see how if your organization offers different services, you can have different campaigns with different ad groups for each of those. Again, you might have resources. So again, you can have one on remote working, you can have a different one on video conferencing, another one on service delivery. So you can start to see how reflecting your website in the structure of your ads makes it very easy to come up with campaigns. And again, a lot of the organizations we work with aren't quite sure what they should be using this for. Mirroring your website is a great way to start out setting up your ads.
And can you have as many ad groups as you want?
Have as many ad groups as you want. This is much more, Google is much more about a minimum to make sure that you actually are using it, not just having the grant and not using it. The last 2, as part of this compliance checklist, I want to pick up on are removing the single word keywords. So you can't target a very generic term like charity. Google does not want loads of people competing for quite broad searches where basically it's a bit more nuanced than just such a broad word. And so basically you can't target just one single keyword searches. As part of that as well, if you're targeting irrelevant keywords, and so if you're a wildlife charity, but you're targeting people searching for cancer, or something irrelevant, like I don't know, think of something completely different. Basically, the quality score is going to be very low because the intent of the user searching is not going to be matched by the ad that you're showing. And so Google will see that and reduce the quality score, its measure of how good your ads are. And basically, if you're showing lots of low quality keywords, lots of low quality ads, Google will stop your ads from running and say you're too low quality. But there are two ways to help combat this. Obviously, for low quality keywords, the most relevant way is to actually run ads that people are searching for, that you have content on your website about. So make sure your ads make sense. That is an automated way to ensure that you're not going to get stopped by Google, and that's an automatic rule where you can remove low quality keywords. So again, I've linked to here an information about the automated rule, and there's a guide, a step-by-step here about how to do that. So basically, you can create a rule in your Google Ads account, and if for whatever reason some of your ads and your keywords drop into the low quality area that Google doesn't want to happen, it will pause them and you'll automatically be safe from being stopped by Google. So this is kind of like a backstop safety measure. This takes about 15 minutes to set up maximum. Once you've done it, you kind of get the peace of mind that even if you're really busy running or doing the other parts of your job, you'll always be safe here and your ads will keep running. You can do the same for single keywords. So again, here's a step-by-step guide. It's very similar to the last one. It takes 15 minutes max to set up. It follows a very similar process. There's just one difference, which is around making sure, this is quite funny, a little hack. By making sure there's a space in the keyword you're targeting, it means that it's not a single keyword, and Google will pause anything that is a single keyword. So again, takes 15 minutes, you set it up, you get the peace of mind that your ads are compliant. This will just run automatically in the background. And to be honest, if you do that, you've met these. So you've made sure that you've got 2 active ad groups, 2 active ads. You've made sure that the rules are running to remove the single keywords and the keywords with a low quality score. And then the last one, ensuring that you have a click-through rate above 5%, is what we're going to look at next. Andy, how are we doing? Any other questions at the moment?
Yeah, a couple more. Does it make much of a difference if you use campaigns as opposed to ad groups? If you're kind of not quite sure which level to put it in?
Yeah, it doesn't make much difference. So I think you're fine if you have an ad campaign which is training and one ad group on training. That's fine. What we need is just the minimum. So as long as somewhere in your account you have 2 ad groups, and in those ad groups you have 2 ads, you are free for the rest of the account to not follow that. So if you're not sure where it goes, just make sure you have the 2 ad groups with 2 ads, and then you can have a third one which just has campaign ad group, which are the same, and then 1 ad at the bottom. It just needs this as a minimum.
Next question. How does it work in Scotland? Because there's not the Charity Commission.
There is a registered Scottish charity number though, isn't there?
OSCR?
Yeah, that's it. Something like that. Yeah. So as long as, whatever the equivalent is, and Scotland does have one, you'll be fine. And
do you get a Google account manager if you get a grant?
No, not automatically. They do have forums where you can ask questions. They have a helpline which you can call, and someone is normally there talking you through, and live chat as well. So you get live chat support. I am gonna say that sometimes the support is not the best. A lot of the time we find out that the support reps don't know about the Google grant scheme. They don't know, and they don't often understand the nuances and the challenges that charities face, especially small charities. They're much more used to dealing with larger organizations and larger commercial organizations. So although the support is there, it's not always the best. And I guess that's why agencies like Empower and everyone else taking part in Digital Candle exist, because we find that charities can't always get the best support from Google. So while it is there, it's not always the best, but I can follow up with links on how to do that and help to make the most of that support offering that they have.
And is the 5% click-through rate, is that for a specific ad or for the whole campaign?
That's across the account overall. So you could have one campaign that has a click-through rate of 20%, so loads of people are clicking on it. You can have another one that has 3%. As long as the average is above 5% across the whole account, that's all Google's worried about. And again, it's just making sure that the quality, the minimum quality level is there.
And how does ad campaigns work together with search engine optimization? Do you see them as separate things?
Yes, so that is a great question. How long have we got, guys? No. So what's happening with search engine optimization is where the results appear below the ads. So let's do it now. Let's do wildlife charity. And we have RSPCA at the top, World Wildlife Aid Foundation, and then the first result here is Wildlife Trusts. Now that's the first organic result. These first 4 are the paid results. Now, this is really cheeky because the only differentiator I can see between these top 4 and these next ones are this tiny, tiny ad thing here, saying ad. Unfortunately, this is what we're competing against because Google just wants, well, essentially is a commercial organization and wants to make money. So it's going to increasingly make sure these ads are the ones being clicked on first. Organic SEO, which is where your results appear naturally at the top or organically without paying for it, is really important because I guess over the longer term, that's a much more cost-effective way of getting users into your website. If you can rank highly here, that's much better, and you won't be paying for it, or you won't be competing with other organizations in the same way. You'll be at the top. Now, Google Ads has what's called the quality score, which I mentioned earlier, and that's basically Google's way of checking that the ads that are showing and the page that you're directing people to. So it will scan where you send people to and making sure the user experience is good. So what Google doesn't want to happen is someone has an advert for a wildlife charity and they go through to the actual website and it's nothing to do with wildlife or charity. It's trying to combat that by creating good landing pages. So the landing pages are what people click on and go through to. By making sure they're good, and good means matching what the user is looking for, you will naturally be good for Google Ads, but also for SEO, because Google is using lots of similar metrics to track who appears at the top of organic search results. So one thing I know we've been working on here, just to give you an idea, is one of our landing pages is around Google Ads. So we want people to search for us and find us. And so we have a landing page here for Google Ads. We run Google Ads against this to get people in to find us, but we've also used SEO to try and get this appearing high up in search results as well. So hopefully, if we put in best Google Ads agency for nonprofits, well, we can see we're competing with lots of people already up here. And I'm hoping we appear quite high. Or you can look at all our competitors here and go for them instead. Oh, there we are. So we're not too bad, about 9 or 10. So that's the kind of thinking we're doing about how they work hand in hand. And by naturally creating good content on your website, it serves both purposes. It serves purposes both for the Google Ad grants and serves it for your organic SEO as well. So it's no bad thing to do the same. Any more, Andy, or should I keep going?
There's a couple more, but I reckon it's probably best if you keep going to keep to the structure, and then we'll come on to them at the end.
Now I've got some ideas for how to stay above the 5% click-through rate, and these are generally good practice anyway in order to make it the most of Google Ads. The first one is what is known as branded search ads. And basically this is just where a fancy name for using your organization name in the ad and what you're targeting. Naturally, people are going to be searching for your organization. If you show an ad every time someone searches for your brand, the click-through rate will be very, very high. If you were not using Google Grants, so if you just had a paid account and you were paying every time someone searched for your organization name, that would likely be a waste of money because people will find you in the organic search results. But because you got the Google Grant, this is a good way of both protecting your brand's name to make sure you appear at the top, but also increasing the click-through rate. And on branded search ads, you'll find most people have like a 20 to 25% click-through rate. And that really will pull your overall ad account click-through rate up. So if you haven't done it already, simply running ads for people searching for your organization name will really help. The next one to look at is called dynamic search ads. Now this is where Google automatically creates ads on your behalf using the content that already exists on your website. So if you're a mental health charity and you have a mental health helpline, if someone searches for mental health helpline, Google can automatically create an ad if that content exists on the website. And so it's dynamically creating these ads. Now the click-through rate for this is naturally going to be higher because this content already exists on your website, and Google will think, this content exists on the website, this is something someone's searching for, let's create an ad for it. The beauty for you as well is that you don't have to manually come up with those ads. You don't have to spend time thinking of all the different possible combinations of keywords that someone's going to search for. Just by setting these up, it kind of automates the process for you. And as long as you've got the content on your website, Google will create the ad for you. As well as the reason this helps with click-through rate as well is because, again, you're not having to think of every single search term. Basically, Google's doing it for you and will only show an ad if it thinks that it's a good result and that people will respond well to it. I'm just going to turn my Slack off before someone beeps again. So that's another good one to look at. And again, there's a link here with a step-by-step guide. Once you've set it up, this will probably take about 20 minutes to half an hour. Once you've done it once, again, it will just run automatically. You won't need to worry about it, and you can just continue adding content to your website in order to create the ads. The next one, which is getting slightly more technical, is what's called a keyword insertion ad. So here you can dynamically insert search terms into the text of the ad based upon what someone has searched for. So if I search for wildlife charity, you can add a bit of text to the advert like this. And instead of chocolate, it would say wildlife charity. And in the ad itself, you would have wildlife charity show up. So chocolate, the example here, someone searches for dark chocolate bar, your ad could look like buy dark chocolate. And again, what's happening here is Google is helping you. It's taking the search term that someone is looking for and automatically adding it to the website, the advert, which as a user, if I search for chocolate and then, or a dark chocolate bar, and then the ad says buy dark chocolate, I'm much more likely to click. And again, Google will be doing this if you have relevant content on your website. And so again, this probably takes about half an hour to set up. Once you've done it, the click-through rate goes right up. We've seen click-through rates of between 15 and 20% for this, which again really helps for increasing the click-through rate across the whole campaign. I'm not sure I've explained it in the best terms, but again, there's a link here to show you exactly what it means. And basically, it's just a better way of connecting what the user is searching for to the ads you're showing in order to increase the click-through rate. So yeah, worth having a look at the link there. Some other ideas. With Google Ads, you can use location targeting, which means that your ad will only show in the areas that you want it to. And conversely, you can also exclude it from areas that you don't want it to appear for. So this is really good if your organization just serves a regional area, a city or a certain county or a certain area of the UK. You can actually just focus in on those. And naturally, by focusing on the area you operate, more people are going to click. Now you can do it across the whole of the UK. You can do it within certain counties, such as Derbyshire, or you can do it in a certain city like Manchester, or you can also do a location around a certain location. So you can do 20 miles around Manchester. Again, there's a link there for how you actually do this. And just to give you an idea, here we're looking at Brighton. So we have actual postcode matches. So I know that the centre of Brighton is BN1. I can then see how many people are within these postcode and either target them or exclude them. We've worked with organisations that have a very good idea of exactly where their target audience is. For example, they're working in areas with high areas of poverty, and they know the postcodes that have higher areas of poverty in their city. And so they will target their ads towards those postcodes just to make sure that the people that really need their services are getting it and excluding people who don't necessarily need it. So again, you can add and exclude just to get really refined in who exactly you're targeting. And we've been working with an organisation to take that to the next level, where we have been targeting, say, Manchester, and then we've been putting Manchester throughout the ad. So you can see here that the URL is Manchester jobs. We're promoting Manchester warehouse jobs and basically encouraging people to click through. So targeting ads that say Manchester in the ads, with just showing them to people in Manchester, and the landing page also says Manchester in it, is creating a really good user experience. That means that people looking for warehouse jobs in Manchester are going to find exactly what they're looking for and be encouraged to click through. And again, we were getting click-through rates of above 10% for these kind of ads. Interestingly, this is Breakroom, who are basically run a survey type website to try and understand what a good job looks like and then try and improve working conditions for hourly workers across the UK. So they're really excellent. That's one way to, again, to increase the click-through rate, make sure the user experience is consistent, and location is a good way to do that. Conscious of time, we've got about 15 minutes. There's only a few slides left, and then we can open it up to a Q&A. One other way to increase the click-through rate is to use an extension. So these are the extra things that go around your basic ad. And site links are the kind of links that appear underneath the initial ad. And you can have up to 4 of these. And then what they do is, rather than going through to the main landing page that you have for your ad, you can direct people to different parts of your website. So that here you can see that they've got a main donation ad, but then they've been directing people to a different donation page. And then also if people want to fundraise for the organization, you can do it there. I'm just going to see if we can get one for a wildlife charity as well while we're here. Again, yeah, so RSPCA here, this is their basic ad that they've created at the top, but they've also got site links here, 2 site links. One is about what we do, and one is to become an RSPCA sponsor. So they're sending you to different parts of the website, and this would be the same: donate online, become a member, find out more. These are site links as well. So again, these are going to increase your click-through rate, because someone might be searching for your organization, but they might want to not come to the homepage or come to the landing page you specify. They might actually be looking for something else on the website, and you can try and anticipate that there by giving them other options. And again, the click-through rate will increase because actually you have more options for them to click on your ad, and that's a good way of increasing it. So again, step-by-step here of how to add site link extensions there. Well worth taking the time to set it up. And once you do, probably take about half an hour. Again, once you have done that, you can kind of set and forget it, and your click-through rate will increase. The last thing I'm going to look at is something called the search terms report. Now, when you create your Google ads, you will be telling Google the kind of keywords that you want to appear for. So in this example, we're going to say we want to appear for warehouse jobs or Amazon jobs in Sheffield. So we're going to tell Google what we want to appear for. Now, Google has a report which tells you the actual terms that people look for in order for your ad to show. So it's kind of like the reverse. It's like, we told Google we want our ads to appear for this, but actually Google's going to tell us where our ads did actually appear. So you find it here, it's under keywords in search terms, and we can see here that we're running some ads for a charity called Good Here, and they talk about climate change. So you've got global warming, effects of global warming. It gives you all the stats for how many clicks it got, what the click-through rate was. So you can see what's working really well and all the rest of the information that you get from your normal ads campaign. The one thing you can do is if you really like this as a good ad, a good keyword, we can add it as a keyword to our campaigns. So this will add it in. So next time, we'll definitely make sure our ad shows for this keyword. If we're not sure about it and we think that's a bad one, so just business ideas, that's a bit generic, the click-through rate's low, I don't like it, we can add it as a negative keyword. A negative keyword means it's not going to show up. If someone searches for business ideas, we don't want our ad to show. Now, if you do this over time and keep, so I'm going to do another one here. If you keep refining it, if you keep having negative ones, if you keep adding positive ones, over time, Google's going to know exactly what you want your ads to show for and what you don't want it to show for. Naturally, your click-through rate will increase because you're only showing your ads for the most relevant results. It's also useful to see what people are actually searching for in order to come through to your website. And if you've got some surprising search terms in there, or if there's some search terms which you hadn't thought about or don't have content for, then actually that's a great example of people actually looking for this information. Can your organization provide that information to them as well? So that's another one to look at, the search terms report. Just as a reminder, it's under keywords and in search terms here. So that's well worth taking a look at as well. Combining all these together, you can see that the one we have here has a click-through rate of 19% overall, this Google Grants account. So I'm really not worried about the 5% limit there. And this is just generally good practice, and we'll get lots of people coming to your website, lots of kind of good user experience as they come through as well. And combining this together, thinking about these ideas will really help you make the most of the Google grant. So we've got about 10 minutes left, which is what I wanted to get to, which is excellent. And we have time for any questions. So Andy, I know we've been going along with some questions as we've gone along, but if anyone has anything else, then we can try and answer it in 10 minutes. If we don't get time to answer it this time, we'll follow up with Andy and we'll make sure that we get all your questions answered.
So some quick ones first. Are you happy to share this Google Doc afterwards?
Yep, the slides will come around. I'm happy with that.
So I'll send a link to everyone who's on the call, and I'll also put it on the Candle blog and probably link to other resources.
Andy, what I might do before you do that, let me correct some of the things like Charity Digital should be listed instead of tech donation. So I'll sort that out and we'll share it there.
How does keyword insertion work if you can't have single keywords?
I see. So maybe the example there wasn't a good one. I think you need multiple keywords in that case. Let's have a look. So I'm actually going to come into a campaign here and just show you. So ads and extensions. So here, here we've got a two-phrase keyword. So you can see all you do to create it is do these curly brackets. So I just click the curly bracket. I get this text here, and I'm going to put two phrases in just to make sure that it doesn't hit that one keyword. And then you'll see it appears here. That's a dynamic keyword insertion or keyword insertion ad. That's as simple as that. I've also got a rule running to stop any keywords from showing where it's one keyword. I think the important point is actually here is that Google is deciding what to show for here and based upon what people are searching for. What I don't think Google wants you to do is have you targeting single word keywords in here. So the keywords that you tell Google, it doesn't want one keyword. Whereas actually if someone does search and you have keyword insertion, I don't think Google's going to punish you for that. It's much more about what you're actively targeting. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
I think so.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that if a keyword has a click-through rate of lower than 5%, you should stop it?
No. The only time I would worry about that is if the whole campaign, the whole account was near 5%. on click-through rate. If the average across all campaigns was, 5 point something, I would be worried about it, and I would be turning off low keywords. I think it's fine if the click-through rate is 2 to 3%, and as long as the average is well above 5%.
At what point does Google register the information someone's clicked on an ad? Is it when they click or when they land on your website? And is it affected by cookies?
So it registers when you click, and what you might find is that your analytics data might not match, and that might be where people clicked on the ads but accidentally did it, and so click back to come back out before the website's loaded. It might be because the landing page takes a really long time to load, and so people might quit before it's loaded, so you need fast loading speeds, but Google will still charge you for the actual click. So it's always on the click. That also means conversely that they don't charge you for any clicks that don't happen. So you can show your ads loads of times, and as long as no one's clicking, they won't charge you. What was the final question? What was the other part of that?
I think you answered it. Is it affected by cookies?
So cookies, yeah, Google handles cookies as in if you click on the ad and then land on the landing page, it knows that you've clicked. So it's always on the ad click. Cookies comes into question when you want to basically use the user's browsing data. So they've come to your website and use that for other purposes. For example, do you want that to appear in your analytics? Do you want to use that for retargeting, which is where you show ads back to people who visited your website already? That kind of thing needs to be handled by your cookie, and that's what that's there for. But Google will handle where the clicks come from automatically.
Could you show us how you check the CTR for the whole account?
Sure. So when you first log in, you'll probably see a screen which has overview like this. So I think it needs, you can go to like this month, for example. You choose a different time frame. My average cost per click is not here, but I think I can change this to click-through rate. So across all my campaigns I've got running, I'm at 6.3. It's been, and it's the blue line here, so it's been pretty consistently above 5 for a long time. Well, this month either, and I can change that time frame to last month as well. If you want to see individual levels, you can see we've done a bit of work to improve it. If you want to see individual campaigns, then you click into campaigns, and then here, the columns that say CTR, click-through rate. So we've got 7, 5, 4, and 33. That's fluctuating a little bit. I think they've only just started. So that's where you'd see it for the whole account. And I think, yeah, at the bottom here, it has total, all but removed campaigns and total account, and we're above the 5% that's needed.
And could you go back and show how to set up your first campaign?
Yep, I'll do that nice and I'll do it nice and quickly. We've only got so much time.
Sorry, I know I'm rushing.
Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions at the moment I can talk through?
What ad group gets priority if like different ones are using the same keyword? That's
based on things like the quality score. It's kind of it's the algorithm matching things together with different metrics. So it's how closely your ad matches search that someone has made. Competitiveness against other advertisers. So is your ad better than other advertisers, or are you willing to pay more if you were paying? Is the landing page better? So is your landing page quicker, gives a better user experience? And do people come to your website and then stick around for a long time, or do they just leave again? It will automatically circulate your ad groups at first. So if you have 2, for example, it will rotate between the 2 automatically. Once people start to see the ads and click, one of those ad groups will eventually be the winner, as it were, so it gets the most clicks. It will start to show that one more automatically. So even though you have 2 ad groups that might be very similar, the winning one will automatically be shown more and get you more clicks, because Google is always trying to get you the most clicks from your ads. So that's what will happen. Setting up a campaign will take some time. I'd prefer to follow up with a step by step, given we've got 3 minutes left, if that's okay.
Okay, very final questions then in the last 3 minutes. If you're competing against a paid account, does Google give priority to the paid one?
Yes. So with the Google grant, you can only spend a maximum of $2 per click. And when other people are competing against you, they're also saying to Google how much they're prepared to spend per click. Now, on really popular search terms, if there's a commercial incentive, for example, someone is likely to bid above $2. So they might say, I'm willing to pay $5 per click, because if someone clicks and then buys my service, it's going to be worth more money to me. So you will automatically be outbid by a commercial organization if they're willing to spend above $2. Otherwise, if it's under $2 cost per click, you're competing on those other things I mentioned. So how good your ad is, how closely it matches the user's search intent, how good the landing page is, those kind of things. So you're not automatically going to lose, but for more popular terms or more commercially valuable terms, then you probably will lose out.
So I think let's wrap it up there. Ben, huge thank you. There's messages coming through saying how useful people have found the session. Yeah, and as Ben said, if you want to send me any questions, that's andy@digitalcandle.org.uk, and I'll liaise with Ben to get any other questions answered.
And I'll tidy up this deck, send it around afterwards so everyone gets access to it. And then, yeah, Andy and I are here for other questions. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so I can see all your wonderful faces. Where is everyone? Oh, maybe I can't. There we go. Stop share. All your wonderful faces and all your mutes. Thank you very much, everyone. I can't believe we had, how many people did we have?
There's a good
50. 50. Thank you everyone for coming. Glad you had a really good time. And yeah. Oh, look at this chat. I'm going to try and save this. Save chat. There we go. I'm going to save it. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you coming. Good luck with your Google Ads. I hope it works out well. And yeah, this is a really good use of Digital Candle. So hopefully we'll do some sessions like this in the future.
Fantastic. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Great.
Isn't Zoom amazing? The way that, like, you kind of think, like, pre-Zoom world, how much hassle it would have been to get everyone, you'd have had to book out a room, get everyone coming. And here it sort of started off with 3 people and ended up being 60 people.
That was a lot of people.
So much, yeah, but just so much communication happened without anyone having to.
Thank you. Thank you for facilitating.
Right, it's absolute pleasure. I thought you did a brilliant job, really nice and clear, really well paced, and
yeah, it worked out well timing wise. Actually, I was worried about how much we're actually going to fit in, and actually getting the questions come through was really good as well.
I always find when I'm talking, I love to get a few questions, because otherwise
it's just me like rattling through.
Down
and I think there's a lot to cover. Like someone asking, like, can you show us how to set up a campaign? It's like, not what this is about.
Well, I thought you seemed to manage everything with a pretty straight bat. So
good.
Yeah, you dealt with that one.
I should also apologise for being a bit late. I realised I was like finishing another call and coming straight onto this, but it seems to be okay.
You give me a minute when there was like 60 people there, and I was thinking, I wonder what we do.
What the fuck is that? Yeah.
All right, lovely, great work. Thank you.
Cool. I'll leave you to it. I've got the chat saved. I'll get you the slides.
Brilliant.
Could you share it as a PDF, please?
Yeah, sure.
Just because I've seen some of our slides appear other places, and a PDF is harder to do that with. I will accept that people will share those slides around, but
yeah, at least if it's got your logo on.
Exactly, it's got my PDF, my logo.
Good vibes.
Exactly. So there you go. Anyway,
cheerio.
If you wanted to do other ones like that, then I'd be up for it. We could do Google Analytics. We could do Facebook ads. We could do SEO, depending on what people want. And I know there are other, I'm not going to pretend that I haven't just spoken to 50 people who might also buy our services later on. That's not why we do Digital Candle, but it is a part of it. But if there was like there was loads of questions that you're getting and there's not enough volunteers, then do that.
Mhm.
And also it's a good use of my time because I'm not going to spend 50 hours doing it.
Yeah,
But I
that's
will spend
amazing,
1
isn't
hour
it?
for 50 people. So that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I'll bear it in mind.
Cool.
It all
And
sounds really
yeah,
good.
I didn't want to make it too salesy or any salesy at all, really. It's much more about helping people. So
All right.
hopefully that
Never
was
got
all
like
right.
that, so it was all good.
Cool. Excellent. Thanks, Andy. I'll speak to you later.
Cheers. Take care. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.